TikTok, it's time to rock. Welcome, folks, to a special episode here on the 5150 show. We have the Z team here. We have myself. We've got on the top rung here, we've got Jimmy. Down there below, we've got Les Paul giving us a hand today. And Johnny, good to see you guys here on the channel.
I salute you.
Oh, fantastic. Look, been looking forward to this show, guys. Like a lot of Van Halen fans over the last couple of days, week and a bit, all of us have been enraptured by the leaked video footage from the 84 concert. Many of us, John and Les Paul, have seen a lot of the stills. We've seen some of the video footage, Jimmy, but never anything like we've had been treated to over the last week, Jimmy.
No, no, it was just amazing. I was over at Les's house over the weekend, and played guitar and stuff like that, all that. And then so I was there Saturday into Sunday, and then I don't like Johnny smiling, but
I'm reading. Hold on a second. I'm reading the chat.
Oh,
Randy Price says, "Jesus Christ, you all let Les on here again."
Yeah.
That's Les Paul to you, Randy.
True. Anyway, so I was over at Les's, and we went to on Sunday morning. We went out, got some breakfast before I drove home, and like right as when I sat down, I just happened to look at Facebook, and there was that one, like that 90-second clip of that full video, but we didn't know it was a full video then, right? And I was like, holy, And then I sent the link over to Cox and stuff, and I figured I'd just check it out when I got home or something like that. Wrong. When I got home, it was like completely down. But then in the middle of the I was beat from like my trip to Les's, and I fell asleep around like 9 o'clock that night, and I wake up around like 12:30 in the morning, 1 o'clock, and I got like all these texts from one of them was from our mutual friend Joe Suma, who runs, we run the EVH Con, and he was telling me that like footage of like Hot for Teacher came out, I think, and then, or was it I'm the One? No, yeah, it was Hot for Teacher, and then he messaged me that I'm the One was out, and like the full 3 minutes, right? And I was like, oh my god! And then so I watched that like in the middle of the night, and then just by chance or because of the algorithm, I didn't know that the full show was out, right? And this is like 1 o'clock in the morning, and the next clip was the full show, like an hour and 6 minutes. I was like, oh my god, that's the whole thing. And so I sent all these links out in the middle of the night, probably woke people up, but it was just it's basically what we've always wanted. Like you kind of said in the beginning of the show, Andrew, we'd all seen pictures of this. There's that famous picture of like Eddie by the side of the stage, and like you can see the crowd, and stuff, you know. And then, you know, there's all these pictures from backstage, or, you know, on that day that I think you're going to show in a little while. But it was just like, oh my God, it's unbelievable footage. It was just, I might be wrong, but I think it was just the most significant footage that's ever been unearthed for this band. Right. And I mean, I might see, you can make I can make the argument that it's more important than Live Without a Net. I mean, this is just crucial footage. Right. And it is the second or third to last gig of the original four. Those four have never played on stage since, those four guys, right? And I think it was Donington, one more day, and then I think the last show was like some festival in Germany or something. Can't remember. Anyway, it was, you know, they were doing the festival circuit, but just unbelievable. And and then, you know, later on in the show, I don't want to take up too much time. We can talk about different points. I've got a whole thing, but I think the video, you know, people are criticizing the video, criticizing the audio. I think the audio is fine. It's not like it was recorded in the back with some guy's Walkman. The audio is perfectly fine, you know?
Look, I'm just going to jump in quickly. And I know that we've got a sequence worked out here on how we're going to talk, but you know, if your ears are trained and you're a spoilt brat listening to 2023 music, John and Les Paul, you're going to think something recorded on footage in 1984 is going to be crap. And if you can't get over that, well, go somewhere else.
And then just one more thing is that, like, you know, people are criticizing Dave's singing. I'm like, Dave is singing great during the show, man. What? I can't understand it.
100%.
Anyway, that's it. So, I mean, I've got some other points to talk about later on, but I'm going to pass it on to Conks for his initial, you know, ideas on this.
You know what my initial idea on this was? It was just like, I couldn't believe I was actually seeing video of Eddie wearing those yellow striped pants, whatever, you know,
the Raiders.
Yeah.
Thing.
Right. And with the 5150 guitar, just like something from 1984, the tour. I was just like actually seeing an animated, you know, video of that, because we're so used to only seeing still shots from anything 1984. And I know there was the BBC video, the old gray whistle test, whatever it was, of, you know, and Hot for Teacher. But this was just, I don't know. I just caught myself looking at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, you know, superheroes come to life or something like that when I was watching it. And I agree 100% with Jimmy that this is like the most relevant Van Halen video I think ever released, because we've been so conditioned to believe that nothing existed. You know what I mean? And I just bought it. There's nothing from 1984. You know what I mean? There's just nothing at all. So it was like Christmas morning when that thing popped up and Jimmy sent me the link. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe that it was real. And then to find out that they had like, you know, 65 minutes of it, it was just like unbelievable. You know, listen, I understand that it wasn't their best performance ever, but it doesn't matter, man. It's just awesome. And, you know, when people criticize Roth's voice, I'm hugely critical of David Lee Roth. Trust me, I'm not critical of any David Lee Roth from that era, because David Lee Roth could still bring it. I don't care if he forgot the words and all that stuff. He just sounded cool, and which he did not sound after 2007. It was just a very quick deterioration, and it just didn't. It just sounded bad. You know what I mean? He was trying to sing out of his range, like octaves higher. He didn't do that back in the day. He may have been sloppy or whatever, but he still sounded cool. You know what I mean? It was just like, and I thought he still sounded good back in the, you know, back then, you know, no matter how it was, I thought he sounded good. It's a different kind of bad that is compared to what 2015 was, you know, for instance, you know what I mean? It's night and day. So I could never criticize that. And I would take a video of that any day, like that quality back then, you know? So that's my initial thought.
Good points. Before we get Les Paul to give his thoughts and opinions, initial thoughts and opinions, John, can you do a shout out because we've got some people in the chat? Can you do that,
sure
please?
can. Well, Simon Williams checked in. I guess he probably went to bed. He said, "I'll catch up tomorrow. Have a great one, guys."
No.
Andy Carson. Hey, Andy. Charles Green. Randy Price. Let's see who else we got here. Boner Jams. Let's see. Johnny Bean.
Johnny.
Let's see. Who else? And Julie Ann Nimbach.
Hey, Julianne.
And
Good to see you.
Tanner Lee Roth is in the house.
Hey, Tanner. Good to see you, Tanner. There's a couple of things that I just want to say, obviously, before, again, Les jumps on. Thank you for the channel memberships and thank you for the subscriptions. That goes to help run the channel and gives us an opportunity to provide some content for you guys. We always appreciate that. And also, please go and check out Johnny Bean, a friend of ours. He had one of the greatest guitar players that we all love and we've all spoken about fondly, Andy Summers, on his channel. So go and check that out.
Yeah, huge Please fan.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve-O. Steve-O's in the chat too. So
Steve-O.
Les Paul.
And JG.
And JG. Thank you, JG. You guys are awesome. Thanks for supporting our channel. It's great. Les Paul, your initial thoughts, brother, on the footage, please.
Well, the funny thing, so Jimmy said, we were out to like brunch or lunch, and that got released, and I'm like, what? It's like you got to be kidding, because the only footage I saw from that was really mainly videos, and there just wasn't like a lot of stuff out there. So when that came out, we're like, and I think we're actually talking about we've been talking about unreleased footage, like, hey, what else is out there? So, and then when I found out like the whole show was out there, it's like, you got to be kidding. So obviously you want to watch it, grab it, whatever, capture it. But I mean, it was just exciting to see everything. I knew Neil Sean was at the show, and seeing him like backstage was cool, and Valerie. And when I was watching it, there's no audio at the beginning. So I'm like, oh shit, I got it with no audio. Then the audio pops up. So I thought it sounded great. The video looked good. I mean, what do you expect? Did everybody there forget their iPhones at the British show or what? So it sounded good. It was just funny seeing how many people actually got on stage back then, which I thought was funny. And I'm surprised, like Eddie, they all ran to him. I'm surprised he didn't hit somebody upside the head with his guitar, or shove that Kramer up somebody's ass. But it was great. But it almost makes you wonder, like, if you've always said there's no footage there, well, clearly we've all seen otherwise. But now it's like, okay, what else is coming down the line? So that opens that up. I mean, is there a lot of Where's the Monsters of Rock stuff? Is there some Texas Jam 86? Maybe some other shows that were filmed that are people might have gotten never released, and somebody finds it later on. So, it's pretty interesting. But the show it's incredible. It's like I feel like I'm a kid again. I remember seeing them for the first time in '84. It was just like amazing.
Yeah, look, I got to agree with you, Les, and I was a little bit late to the party too. I think I was fortunate. I got a message from John Conklin, guys. John Conklin sent me the link on Messenger, and I clicked it thinking that it was just going to be video, and then you saw the timestamps at like 1 hour and 60, and I watched it completely. I just stopped doing everything like everybody else around the world and just sat there and went, holy crap. I agree with you, Jimmy. And this is one of the great things that we do here on the channel and that we understand as music fans is that video that we may or may not have recorded individually is an archaeology of the time, John, and it's a great archaeology. They're trying to do the best that they can given the technology that they had. But what a party.
Yeah, it was amazing. A sea of humanity out there too. There had to be a couple 100,000 people at that show.
Yeah, how many were there actually?
I don't know. It had to be 200,000.
I mean, yeah, it was thousands. It's just crazy.
Yeah, but it's great because it starts off, like you see. I think the two Valeries, right? Wasn't
Alex's first wife.
Yeah, Alex and Eddie's. Yeah, you see the two Valerie's walking up, and then there's Rudy Laren.
Yeah.
Holding
Rudy.
the microphone about ready to say, hello people, Van Halen, whatever. And I'm like,
with
yo,
his
that's
cool
great.
shorts.
Dave's like smiling and stuff and doing his thing, and then there's that quick clip of like Eddie, I guess, fiddling with the microphone in front of his cab or something, right? And then it starts, and it's just like, oh man, it's just unbelievable footage. And like John said, it's like, you see these guys in real life. What you just saw in pictures, comes to life and stuff, and it's just amazing, Dave's, in the middle of the show, Dave, I guess, people are jumping up and stuff, and like there's one guy that jumps on stage, and Dave's like, yo man, get him a drink, he made it this far, get him a drink. Meanwhile they're counting. He's like, yo man, get this guy a drink, he made it this far. So cool, and Dave's like, doing his thing, yada Bosley Bob, love it.
It was just amazing how clean Eddie's guitar tone was too.
It is. I was talking to Les about it. Is so clean, man. It's not, especially when he was doing like that solo. You could tell that it was like just not that distorted at all.
You could see his volume knob. He had it back off during a huge part of that solo, and then he went to brought it like all the way up again, but it was down for, that was just aggression from his fingers, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And
amazing.
The other thing I was wondering too is, where was the audio source? Are we just hearing it from the stage, from the monitors, or what are we hearing there? I mean, because it was pretty decent overall.
That's what I assumed it was. I assumed it was the audio from like the camera.
I think it was, because there's one part where like Ross coming from the side of the stage, and you can hear some guys talking, and it's like, it sounds like it's two guys right behind the camera. So I think, like you said, it was probably from one of those directional mics on top of and they probably had one of those big like news cameras filming it, with the technology in '84.
Somebody's got to do it. The Millennium Modeler just said here in the chat, somebody's got to take these audio sources, if they're good, if they're better than the source on the actual tape, and just actually dub it in there. You know what I mean?
But I'm fine with that audio.
I am too, but it would be kind of cool.
I'm not an audiophile. I'm fine with that audio. What I want is release more of this. Now, let me just jump in for a sec. We should talk about how this video has been pulled now. Should we talk about that now?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. This video has been pulled. It's not on the internet. Okay.
Sure.
So I don't know. Last night, I was saying this to the guys earlier, individually, that there's this thing on YouTube where one of the guys posted it, and it says it was pulled because there's a copyright claim from this guy called, hold on, where is this? It says that the video was pulled due to a copyright claim by Elite Works at eBay. So it sounds like this person, Elite Works at eBay, did the copyright claim on this, right? So if you look up Elite Works at eBay on YouTube, right? If you go to that guy's account, there's the guy's got about, I don't know, almost 2,000 subscribers, which, isn't really that, but he's got 0 videos. There's 0 videos posted, right? And so I'm like, let me look this guy up on eBay, and if you go to eBay, now get this, his description, like who he is, says, never before seen hard rock heavy metal footage from the 70s, 80s is unearthed to promote the pop culture memorabilia auctions of eBay seller Elite Works. So is this guy like unearthing this stuff himself? Now the thing is, I was talking to Les about this, right? Like it says that the copyright claim came from this guy Elite Works at eBay. Okay. Now, can anybody just claim that? No, I'm not sure. Like this guy must have Like, does he own this footage? Did he have this footage? Did he release this footage? You know, like Conks. I mean, can Conks just go there and do a copyright claim with and say it's his stuff and YouTube is okay with it, or does there have to be some kind of proof behind that?
From what I understand, and this is the first I've heard of it, folks. So good stuff, Jimmy. Good stuff. Maybe the guy,
Jim Rockford, from the Rockford Files.
yeah. So on our channel, when we've tried to put video up, sometimes we can put video up, and the copyright royalties goes back to the record company or the person who has the copyright, but you can still keep the video up. We don't make 7 cents for that video, but some videos they claim the video footage, so and you can't play that or show that anywhere. So I think this guy's probably done that, but for him to get that copyright, he must have had something something to back it up, because YouTube wouldn't have done it so quickly.
Right.
I'm sure.
It doesn't say copyright claim by Warner Brothers, Alex Van Halen, David Lee Roth, you know, I don't know, Valerie Bertinelli. It doesn't say anything like that. It's just this dude.
Yeah, somebody's got the copyright for the footage, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, if they have more, they need to let that out.
Yeah. Conks is like, hey man, get in touch with him and see if he's got more. If he's gonna release more, I'm like, I will.
Keep it coming. You know what? I initially thought it was a reaction to the remasters, because you know when the smoke cleared, everybody was happy that the remasters were going to be released, but then you know I was kind of offended myself. You know what I mean? And I'm usually pretty good with the company line, you know what I mean? I support them and everything like that. But I'm just, I at this point, I just feel like that whole remaster thing was just, you know, give me a break. I don't know, you know, they're trying to sell like that one vinyl LP, the last one that's rarities and stuff like that. And when you see that like Baluchitherium is a rarity because it wasn't on the vinyl LP of Balance, even though it was on the CD, which everyone bought in 1995, they're considering it a rarity, which is garbage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
We've all got the song.
And, you know, the main thing I was looking for the remasters for was because Sammy Hagar did mention a few months ago on Instagram that, hey, that song that we did for Twister, the other one that we did that we never used it, is like a mid-tempo ballad called Between Us Two. He goes, they have it. It's completely done, and it will be coming out. And so I figured, well, it's going to be coming out on these remasters. Where else would it be? And then, sure, it's nowhere to be found on there. And basically, you know, they're going to go sell us the same crap over and over again, just a louder version of it because it's remastered. You know, you can look at it that way. But so I thought somebody was like, oh, yeah, well, you know what? Obviously, you know, and it's the way I feel is that I really don't think we're ever going to hear anything on that wall at 5150 because I just feel like they're going to say that, you know, oh, if it was any good, it would have been released, which is what they're saying already. And so I encourage anybody that has anything, including former band members like Gary Sharon and people like that, you know, Gary, you want to, make people have a different image of you and your time in Van Halen. Well, leak out some of that second album because some of us have been able to hear a song or two from that. And it was much better than what we heard on 3. So, I mean, you know, I encourage Sammy Hagar to if you have that Between Us Two, let it out there, leak it out there, because we're never going to get anything else from the official Van Halen, I don't believe. So, you know,
he should release it as a single.
People have to take it into their own hands, and I still think Alex must have a issue with Sammy. And it you know, maybe like I said, my theory is that Warner Brothers said, listen, we're doing this one way or the other. We have a right to do this, and we're going to do this, put this out. And maybe Alex just said, well, I'm not signing off on any additional tracks or anything like that. You just put that, you know, the bare minimum is which they basically did. They're not giving us really anything at all, which is typical of the way they've been for years with us. So, but I encourage anybody who has anything like that, you know what I mean? Let it leak out there. You know, this was this was amazing this past week because of that video. So.
So I just want to jump in here quickly and just backtrack a little bit to what Jimmy was saying about the guy that owns so-called the copyright. There's a comment in here from a guy called Andrew saying that this guy owns nothing. So if that's the case, then he's made a claim using the YouTube. He's reported these videos to YouTube saying that he owns the copyright. And so from what I understand, YouTube will investigate that. So these videos could resurface again.
Well, we all have the video. A lot of us have them ripped, so
Exactly.
it's only a matter of time before it's circulating as we speak. So tough shit.
I know what you do.
Exactly.
I know what you do. So I'm not agreeing. I'm not saying anything.
Yeah.
They're going to pry that from my cold, dead fingers.
Yeah, well, Les is right. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people wisely.
I mean, once it's out, it's out. I mean, it's not like, oh, my bad. Here you go. No, we got it. Tough. I don't know what to do. So we just.
Okay, so this guy has been harassing Andrew for years. So,
wow,
Andrew, you're a new name in the chat. So maybe you want to tell us what you do, if that's okay. And I'm not going to make an attempt to pronounce your surname. Can you guys help me?
Yeah, it looks like Scambati.
Scambati.
That right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And YouTube will do nothing. Will not investigate. Really?
Well, I don't think YouTube has the power to investigate. Technically, they might have the power to like shut something down.
Les does.
Oh.
Well, I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, you know, and the thing is, I think it's interesting. It's like, as much as there's so much good stuff coming out with this video, there's so much drama behind it, like how to get rights stolen, all that, you know. But at the good thing, I mean, I was watching it today, and it's just like, wow, it's just it feels like you're there because you're literally on the side of the stage just watching them close, and it's weird because does anybody seems like the stage is really small, but it's really not that small, but it seems like it almost is.
Right. Exactly.
It seems like it's only 10 foot wide.
It seems really it seems really small until you see a picture of it from like a distance.
The crowd.
Like, it's not that small.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
Right. That's the picture right there. Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
When
You're right.
It looks like it's 1/3 of that.
Yes.
From the angle.
100%.
Yeah, I noticed that when they were on the drum riser or something like that, and you could see Mike's keyboards. I thought they were like right close to the drum riser. They're like 15 or 20 feet ahead in front of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty far up.
Wow, look how old those. It's so weird. It's going to be 40 years next month.
Yeah,
correct.
That's insane. It's 30. I mean, wow.
Correct. You're
and
right.
We're just seeing it now. You know, it's crazy.
Yeah. There it is. There.
The band must have been pretty tattered, you know, because of the end of a long tour. Really started in January, and this was in September, and that was so they must have been on their last nerves with each other. You know, I'm sure. I know. I remember. You know, I won't get into what Eddie was saying, but apparently he was like Jekyll and Hyde. Like before the show, they were doing photo stuff outside, and I know he like verbally attacked a photographer there. 1 minute he was fine, but I mean, like, really, he said some really offensive things to this photographer. So it may have been, you know, whatever substances they were partaking in that day, but it was like 1 minute he was happy-go-lucky Eddie, and the next minute he just basically turned, from what I understand. So they might have been, you know, pretty well burnt on touring and everything at that point too. We know this was almost the end, so it's kind of it's an interesting time.
I bet
I thought it was great that that they, you know, showed House of Pain, one of my favorite tunes. That was just sick. And I loved I guess it was the intro to Hot for Teacher or something where the camera is on looking over Alex.
Yeah.
And you can see I love those drums, you know, with the little pieces on there, right?
Yeah.
And you can see those up close for the first time, really, like what it looks like up close, you know, and it's just little, you know, squares of like these, you know, whatever that material is. And I'm like, whoa, nice. Great angles, man. And like, a while back, I don't know, a couple of days ago, there was discussion of like who was this camera guy. I always assumed it was like their guy. Not, I don't. It's not. It's not. It's one camera. It's not BBC, right? It's just
No.
one camera.
Yep.
And you can see him in some pictures, right? Like that people took. You can see him in some pictures.
Wow.
Well, I don't know what you guys, your feelings on that, but I feel like that was just like their guy filming that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I assume that they paid for it to be filmed. That's what I would have thought. You know what I mean? I don't know if anybody else knows about that in the chat. I mean, there's some great stuff going on in the chat, so everybody, read the chat. But I just, we just assume you try to figure out, well, who would have paid for this? And I figured, well, it was probably the band, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's, it wasn't. I don't understand what it was for, but it was kind of cool because usually if you're going to do something, it would be multi-camera, shots and stuff like that. So it was kind of just like, a dude with a 16 millimeter camera. I think somebody said that before. It might have been Caleb actually. And that said 16 millimeter camera, with a mic built into it, and just was, walking around and filming things.
Lucky.
Can you just give me a second, guys? So we got a guy called Andrew that's got some inside information. So do you want to hang around for a little while, Andrew, and let us have a bit of a conversation and maybe come on in about 30 minutes or something like that and tell us what you know if you want. Do you know Jimmy, John, or Les Paul? If you know any of those guys, they've got the link. They can send you the link. But if you want to come on and share some of the information on the video with us, you're more than welcome.
All right. Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
I don't have the honor of knowing Andrew, but if you can get him, if somehow we can get him the link, let him come on.
Okay.
Yeah, I have him on here. Andrew, I'll send you a Facebook Messenger with the link if you want to come on. He said I do, cool. And I will. So, so I'll send you the link, and maybe 30 minutes from now we'll jump on with us. Okay.
Well, if he's got Kiss, if he's got all this Kiss footage, I want to see the Eddie Van Halen and Kiss. I'd like to see that footage.
Awesome. Hey, Tony, good to see you, brother.
If Andrew comes on, can we get rid of Les?
I'll go. We can't have two Andrews on the show, so I'll go. You can run the show, Jimmy.
The other thing I wanted to talk about really quick is like how it's a great document of like the 5150 around that era. It's not brand new, but it's not completely, it's not like 1986 Relict, which is the next time we actually kind of see it, Yeah. And you can, there's great when he's doing a solo, there's great up close pictures. I mean, wasn't there a discussion, Andrew, you told me about this, where people were debating whether or not that was the 5150.
No, let me tell you this. Okay, so I'm wasting time at work, during my break, of course. And I see this Guitar World thread, and these guys are on there saying, agreeing with the Guitar World article, saying that it was the is it the Neptune? Was it the No, the Hot for Teacher. It was the Hot for Teacher guitar or something like that. One of those guitars. And our friend Alan Garber jumps on there and says, "Come on, guys. Come on."
It only says 5150 on it.
Shout out to Alan Garber.
Yeah. Nice work. I mean, like I saw that reply. He's like, he played two guitars that show, the 5150 and the little guitars. That's it. Anyway, great. Andrew, you want to bring up the set list? Maybe we talk about the set list a little bit.
Yeah, hold on, brother. I thought that was hilarious.
I love that they did House of Pain. I mean, I love House of Pain.
There's the set list there, folks.
Well, one thing I did notice on this, and not just an observation, is especially for the House of Pain solo, like Ed just, he just, winged it. I mean, he just, did his. It's not the recorded solo, which is fine. I saw somebody. I was watching this podcast, a while back, and they were talking about how like they saw Van Halen in 79, 80, 81, and like Ed sometimes didn't play the recorded solo, but it was cool because you got to hear different because you got to take into account of like what time frame that was. It was cool because like you got to hear Ed do different licks that you didn't know about that weren't recorded. You know what I mean? And you're like, oh wow. Anyway, it was it's just an observation that he kind of strayed from like the soul, but Ed's just sitting there with he's listening to Al, he's playing, listening to Al, and then then they transition to the I love that part, and it was great. It's great.
Hey, R2.
That's well, and the thing is, if he would have played that solo like just note for note, just like the record, I would have been like, "You got to be shitting me." That would have been just the best thing of that whole damn thing.
Hey,
yeah, man.
Yeah, Kurt just messaged me. He said he heard some guy named Kurt Gooch bought footage from Noel Monk's estate.
Wow.
He sold copies to a few VH fans and asked them not to leak it, and someone did. So maybe that plays into this also. So that's from Kurt. And so when we have
this also goes. This
we'll
also proves something that I kind of brought up. I think one of the first times that I was ever on this show, and it sounded like a conspiracy theory, but I was a member of the VH Trading Links, whatever it was called, a while back, many years ago, and I traded a lot of videos and stuff. Like you would see somebody's list, like somebody would send you their list of videos that they had. And you would, you'd pick, you decide that you're going to do 3, so you would pick 3 from there, and they would pick 3 from your list, and then you traded VHS tapes for a while, right? This is just like the beginning of the internet, right? And around that time, a few times I kind of stumbled across these posts of like, it's going to sound like Illuminati, of like these like hoarders or this group that has unreleased stuff that they only kind of trade amongst themselves for other unreleased stuff. And I think I've said this before, but it sounds like this is the truth. It sounds like this is what's going on, that there is this thing like an underground thing where they've got, because I just saw that post. I had the feeling that there was that Largo. I've heard that before, that there was a Pro Shot Largo 1984. There's a Pro Shot Largo 1982. And I was telling Les that a couple days ago because Van Halen's not responsible for shooting that. The Hall shoots that. That's why there's Fleetwood Mac Largo. There's Tom Petty Largo. Right? There's all these like Largo. The Hall itself, it shoots that for the, I guess they had screens or something, right? So it's the Hall's property. It's the whoever owned, that establishment, So I had a feeling that if they went through Largo in 1984, they had to have a 1984, Pro Shot, just like there's a 1982 Pro Shot. Anyway, this just kind of brings up that there is this like underground thing where people just kind of, you don't know about, you're not in because you don't have, any footage that hasn't leaked and is super rare that would interest these guys. And like, let's say if you had a professionally shot Montreal 1981 that nobody else had, then you could probably get yourself in and get some of this, Okay. Anyway, I know it sounds crazy, but it sounds like that's what's going on.
So there's like a Freemason level of Van Halen fans.
Yes. Yeah. The only, it's kind of like, it's kind of like Indiana Jones. Like when you pull that lever, you get a rare, 1980, Nashville show or whatever, Pro Shot filmed,
Yeah.
Well, if they Pro Shot like you said, Fleetwood Mac and all those other shows, and they do it for every show. I mean, what's up? What's different with this? Did they not want it released? Who knows?
Kurt says it was sold on a Reddit site, so there's obviously some underground stuff going on here. And Andy just said, Carson said that Michael Anthony said in a recent interview there's a ton of Pro Shot footage from the older tours. Well, let's go.
No, I did hear that interview. I did hear that interview. My thing, because it was on Eddie Trunk, and like I want to believe that, but part of me feels like Mikey means audio. Like there was, if you listen to the interview, they kind of jump between video and audio, and it kind of sounds like maybe Mikey's talking about audio and not video. I'm hoping that I'm wrong, but you know,
it'd be great to see both, but I mean, hell, at this point, we'll pick it. There's nothing new coming out. Just release. Everybody's released everything. We'll deal with the legalities later.
Yeah,
we'll pay for it.
Yeah, take my money.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Hey, if anybody is watching this and is a member of that Reddit, contact me. You can get my email address. Contact me. Sign me up. Take my money for the 1984. I promise I will not share with anybody
except me.
And me.
Mom's the word.
And everybody on this chat.
Yeah.
Anyway. Look, but honestly, it does give us hope. There is hope that this stuff. Now, if this stuff here's the thing: if this stuff exists, it's gonna get unearthed sooner or later. Okay, sooner or later, it's gonna get. Now it could be many, many years from now when one of these guys stop.
It's already been almost 40 years.
Yeah,
now's the
we're
time.
not getting any younger.
But it's comforting to know that. I mean that. We first of all, we need this stuff to exist. If it doesn't exist, then forget it. But if we can get confirmation that this stuff does exist, I'm pretty confident that it'll get. I mean, look at all the stuff that's leaked so far, man. Like, remember, I don't know, a couple of years ago, there was that people, we were going crazy over that that weird "So This Is Love" video with like the dinosaur and stuff. Like, we never seen that before. I mean, we saw pictures of it, but we'd never seen that video before. And like that cool the one that I think it was that video that Alan kind of synced up, where it was the Van Halen, it was a '78 tour where they were playing somewhere, and like those guys, it was I don't know how they did it, but they synced up the audio to the video.
Wow.
And like Les and I were talking about, like, before we sat down in that diner, 10 minutes, 1 minute before that, we didn't know this thing existed, so who knows? It gives us hope. That's all you really need.
What's odd? It seems like since Eddie passed away, a lot of stuff has kind of leaked out, like just even photos and stuff like that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? To me, it seems like a lot of stuff just kind of popped up from, people were, maybe they felt like, well, a little safe, like I can let this out now or something for whatever reason. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's funny because if you missed a show today that you wanted to go to, there's no need to worry because somebody got footage. But can you imagine if we had iPhones in '78? Holy shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, we'd have so much stuff. We'd be sick of it. It'd be crazy.
Here's the thing, though. Would we apprient it? I mean,
we probably wouldn't
appreciate it as much. That's the thing.
Probably not. Nah. It's rare,
Yeah.
And
it was
in
that video. It was cool seeing Mikey. I always wondered, like, why, like, we had that discussion before we went on about like Jump and Mikey playing the keyboards, right? I was always wondering, like, why. I'm like, why is Mikey playing? Because I saw that, you can see it in that Montreal '84, that not the audience shot where they're both playing. They're both up on the at the on the height of the stage or whatever, and playing keys and stuff. And like, I was always wondering, like, why is Mike playing keys too? But you can see in that video, it's so he plays the key, he plays along, but he also plays the keys under the solo that Ed does, right? I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, so he's doubling the bass part on the top keyboard.
Yeah.
Like octaves with his hand. And then on the OB8, which is what Eddie's using, the same synth below it, he was, like you said, he was doing the part behind the solo and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he had bass pedals up on the drum. I don't know if it was for his solo. I think was the bass pedals. He had that hooked into some kind of that weird evil synthy sound for the bass solo up there.
Mm-hmm.
And you think he was using
right where he's standing? There's like Taurus bass pedals up there.
Oh, Taurus, nice.
Yeah, it looked like it up there. So, but he had he had, there were two OB8s, so it was kind of cool. But it just goes to show you, all the time when Eddie was mad at Mike and saying that he couldn't play, he had to show him how to do things. It's just so untrue. It's just so untrue. It's like funny that people believe that stuff because you know,
No.
we know Mike was playing in the Cradle of Rock on keyboards, you know, in 1980. His dad was a professional musician.
No, I never.
So
That just and you know, I feel
I feel bad for Mike.
bad for that. It just sounds like sour grapes, you know. And
It does, and a lot of people buy into it and say, "Oh, yeah, no, he didn't play on any of the albums," which is a bunch of crap too. You know what I mean? He definitely played on there, you know. So
yeah, yep.
but
Yeah, I never liked that. I never. It always sounded like that was, you know, sour grapes on. I mean, Mikey,
yeah,
you know, like I don't know.
I think it was a reaction to people criticizing Wolfgang, and I think Eddie got angry at that because obviously it's his kid. I would be pissed if somebody did that about my kid. And who's he going to lash out? He's going to lash out at Mike and try to, you know, and all this time I always kind of defended Mike and stood on Mike's side. But when you hear it from like their side of the story, like, you know, Eddie was diagnosed with cancer in like 2000. And then basically he was kind of trying to recover from that. Him and his wife left him. Obviously he was in a bad spot. And then turns out that Mike bails on them. And, you know, the way they looked at it in 2002 and goes with Sammy. So really there was the only people left in the band were really Eddie and Alex, because I guess they felt that was a violation of trust because, you know, they were mad at Hagar and Mike sided with him. So, you know, you kind of could see a little bit of their side of it. But at the same time, I think that Mike got a bad rap from all that. And you see all these people on Facebook that they don't even bother to respond to them anymore because they're just so like they have no clue about anything. And you know, they think they really believe that Mike, you know, should have a 1-string bass and go don't. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, give me a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. Did you notice it like on when Eddie was doing like little guitars and David was like moonwalking? And he said Michael Jackson doesn't know shit about heavy metal music. I wonder if that was a diss to Eddie. I don't know if it was a diss to Eddie for playing on the record. I always wondered that.
I'm sure it was.
Yeah. Like you know, like Michael Jackson, and you know, I don't know if it was like an underhanded diss because you know he was never happy with him playing on that.
And Les Paul, it's an interesting thing that you mentioned too, because David used the word heavy metal, and that's definitely the term that was prevalent in the UK back then. And your guys will notice this, that heavy rock or rock music or whatever really wasn't a term that they used a lot, other than, you know, obviously heavy metal. And have a look at the crowd. 90% of the crowd is all guys. So heavy metal was very much a guy thing in the UK, like it was here, you know, a working class guy kind of thing, as opposed to you guys in the States where rock and roll and rock was equal, 50-50, you know. A lot of the venues, you know, wouldn't hold a gig, would they, unless there were plenty of girls there for obvious reasons.
Well, you know, I remember like the magazine Hit Parader would say like heavy metal issue, and it always had bands. They had like Quiet Riot Against Van Halen, heavy metal shootout, and I'm like, I guess, you know, both are great hard rock bands. If people want to consider them heavy metal, I mean, I considered heavy metal back then more British, like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, stuff like that. You know, British heavy metal. But I guess. Not like you couldn't have American heavy metal. But
I was listening to Iron Maiden the other day, and I never was a really big Iron Maiden fan or anything, but I was listening the other day, and I'm like, it's really not that heavy metal, you know, Iron Maiden. You know what I mean? It's like, to me, it's like kind of hard rock kind of too. It's not really like metal, you know what I mean? So
they call
back in '83 it was, John. Back in '83 it was, bro.
It was some heavy shit back then.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, it's not that metal right now, but I mean, pre-Metallica, that was metal.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, in the chat, I get Nerd Halen. I guess Caleb says that Dave leaked this to steal focus from the collection too. Well, that's possible, right? He doesn't want the Hagar remasters getting any attention, and Dave released this video to take away the attention from that. Anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
You never know.
I would love that, man. Go, Dave.
Dave, keep it coming, man.
Yeah, keep it coming, dude. Dave. All right, dude.
One thing I noticed too, on Fire, when Eddie's playing the solo, right before he plays it, he's like pointing up and over and up. I'm wondering if he was going for, hey, mixing the monitors.
Yes.
I think he was pointing at Alex. Like, I mean,
Yeah. Well, I thought he was pointing at the
turn
engineer
Alex up in the monitor.
up in the
Yeah.
monitor mixes. I mean, I don't know. I was wondering that.
Yeah, that's what I thought
with
too.
one hand, that lick.
And then I must have watched it. I must have watched that part like 10 times, and I still can't tell if the last time he goes like this, if he gives the middle finger. I can't. Like, I thought he gave the middle finger.
Yeah.
Right. I couldn't, because he does it like 4 times, right? And I'm like the last, and then he turns around to face the audience, and then I'm like, it's the last time the middle finger. Anyway,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No. Guys, a great little thing for me on that video footage was watching them at the end there hang out with the horse John, the ox John Entwistle from the Who. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I heard this. I saw just yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I followed Neil Sean on Instagram, and he was aware of that footage, and I was always wondering like how, did Journey wasn't on that bill, the Who weren't on that, what are those guys doing there, right? And Sean said that he was there. This is just a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday that he wrote this, that he was there just visiting Entwistle, right?
Yes.
And he, heard that, this was going on and that Van Halen was there, and he was like, "Hey man, let's go see Ed." And they went and saw Ed. So I don't know if that was the first time, obviously, Sean and Eddie knew each other before that, but I was always curious as to how Entwistle ended up there, and now we kind of know. So,
well, and Ed was always a huge, obviously a big Who fan, but I think he really liked John Entwistle. I think they set up a friendship before. Maybe
sorry, it's just a comment for Randy Price. Yeah,
what's crazy? Not far from where I live, there was a bar, like they have rock bands and stuff that play in there. And John Entwistle used to hang out in that bar in New York, suburban from the city, New York. And my friend that I grew up with my whole life, he used to pick him up at the airport and in his 1975 Toyota Celica. I'm not even kidding with this, John Entwistle. And he used to drive John wherever he wanted to go. John wanted to go to McDonald's. He'd take John to McDonald's. He'd take him to the bar. He said I drove him to Boston one time. But there's this crazy little hole-in-the-wall bar right near where I live. And Ace Frehley used to go there. And
is this tell that story you told me about how Eddie and Valerie were in your town.
Literally it's right across the street from the shopping center. When Eddie broke his wrist in when I guess he was fighting with Alex or something like that in the hotel room. I don't know what the story it's in. I forget what it was. Didn't he have his guitar parts laying all on the floor, and did Alex kick them and they got into a fight and Eddie fractured his wrist? So they canceled the shows that in the city. I don't know if it was the Garden or Nassau Coliseum, whatever. But it was just, I remember it was I had seen them for the first time a week earlier, upstate in Syracuse, New York. And so what happened was they canceled the shows, and Eddie and Valerie took a limo up to this bar. It was called Ashley's, and it was in the shopping center, 2 miles from my house. And they were there because the new Mamas and Papas were playing there. Mamas and Papas from the 60s.
Yeah.
The new Mamas and Papas. And John Phillips was in there, and in the new Mamas and Papas, Mackenzie Phillips, who was on the TV show with Valerie Bernelli, she was in the new version of the band, and they happened to be playing in Westchester outside the city, and Eddie and Valerie happened to be there for the shows in the city. And when he broke his wrist, so they came up here, and I knew the guy that a family friend, he happened to be there, and he knew the owner of the place, and the guy's like, "Hey, come outside, we got some VIPs coming." And he said the limo pulled up, and sure enough, the door opened, and there were empty Heineken stacked on the separation thing between the front and the back. So I guess Eddie was all lubricated when he got out of the car, and he said they went in, and he said they were great. People were buying them rounds of drinks all night. They said Eddie vomited in the bathroom. That's how hammered he got. But apparently it was just an all around great night. So so it's funny because now it's a Stop and Shop supermarket. And it's the frozen food section is kind of where so every time I go down the ice cream aisle, I think of, Eddie hurling in the bathroom. You know what I mean? So
this is the spot. This is the spot right in front of the right in front of the Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah, but it's so weird because it's right across the street from this bar where Entwistle and Ace Frehley and all these people used to, hang out. But I mean, my friend would tell all these stories because it sounds crazy, but it's just like one time he said he would trade his Alembic, that custom bass that he had.
Oh, man.
He was going to trade because one of my friend's other friends who are like my age, like 10, 15 years younger than Entwistle, you know what I mean? And he had like a 69 Camaro in his garage and Entwistle and all them were breaking his balls saying, "No, you're never going to fix that car," And Entwistle said, yeah, I'll trade you. I'll give you one of my basses for that car. And it was like got into an argument. They're like, "John, screw you, John." You know what I mean? It was like just like a bizarre kind of crazy story. And they were goofing on him. And so it's like, "Yeah, I'll give you the bass. Give me that car because you're never gonna finish it and stuff like that." But,
I'd be like, "John, you can't drive this car. The steering wheel's on the wrong side."
And he said John had like a box with pills in it, and he said he would open the box and they were all different colored pills, and he would say, "One of these," and then he'd take one of these and one of these. It's just like he had like he said it was like a pill box all neatly put together with all kinds of pills in it.
Oh, that's hard to believe.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's
exactly. Hard. But it's pretty wild that
I mean,
awesome.
Hanging out with Keith Moon, shit, who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm going to interrupt if that's okay. We've got Andrew in the green room. He's going to jump on board and tell us what he knows.
Very cool.
Obviously, we'll have some questions for Andrew, and folks in the chat, if you have any questions for Andrew, we'll endeavour to get him to answer them. All right.
Very cool.
Give me a second, gentlemen. Hello, Andrew. How are you, brother?
What's up, man?
I'm sorry, I don't know anybody here. This is my first time watching the podcast. You might crucify me because I'm only a casual Van Halen fan. I only saw him one time. But as luck would have it, I do know a lot about what's going on.
Sweet.
Well, thank you. Thank you for jumping on. And it was fortuitous, I suppose, that you managed to catch our stream. I just want to remind folks that if people are watching on a replay and people are watching live, I will attach Andrew's links to his social media channel on this. So go and follow him. But
you should,
Andrew,
now. I'll follow you guys. I'll be a fan now just because I dig what's going on.
Yeah. Well, we're all about sharing information and hanging out with each other.
Subscribe
and being
Andrew.
cool, Andrew. So, brother, the floor's yours. Tell us what you know.
Okay, so obviously I'm not in the Van Halen community, but I am pretty well known in the Kiss community.
Okay.
For years, I'd been producing these unofficial Kiss fan films that kind of fill in the gaps that Kiss really didn't do. One of my favorite movies as a kid was The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin, and I kind of thought to myself, I go, well, what if Kiss ever did A Song Remains the Same? So I have a little bit of a background in video editing, and I made it, and Kiss fans started freaking out. And it kind of started this whole underground movement of people wanting to see more Kiss things. Other people were being Kiss content creators, and it really blew up. It really blew up. And, at first I didn't really attach my name to it because I thought that the band was going to sue me. But they didn't. So I was producing these unofficial Kiss fan films since 2018 is when I put out my first one called The Greatest Show on Earth. Okay. In, I guess, early 21 or no, probably 20, early to mid 21. My channel had almost 2 million views. And I had all kinds of different, Kiss documentaries on there. I had The Greatest Show on Earth, as I mentioned, which was based on 1977 Kiss. Then I had other ones based on, different eras of the band. But people love them. Unfortunately, the band never called me, but that was okay. This was just me doing this for a lot of fun. Now, unfortunately, one person had a problem with this. And that guy's name is Kurt Gooch. This guy has not left me alone since 2018. Saying that he owns everything and that he's going to sue me. He's going to do this. He's going to do that, the other thing. And, my first correspondence with him was simple. You own this? Send me written proof. And he never could. So you guys touched on kind of, the hoarding community and touched on people trading with other people and doing other things. That's exactly what's going on. Kurt has, the unfortunate part is Kurt was actually a really talented author, and he did produce a couple of great books. But unfortunately, what he's been doing since then is he's been lying, cheating, stealing, and whatever have you to feed this obsession with footage. And he doesn't keep it to himself. He sells it to the highest bidder. Now, I'm guessing in 2020, between 2020 and 2021, he somehow was working on the Kiss documentary Kisstory, and he gained access to some of Kiss's things. And he began selling a 3 terabyte hard drive chock full of Kiss footage that either he found or belonged to Kiss or whatever have you. I mean, this is all over. So I guess he sold it to the wrong person, and that person started leaking it on the internet last year under the name Sam Loomis. Because years ago, Kurt used to post on Kiss message boards under the pseudonym Laurie Strode from Halloween. So this person was Sam Loomis and just was basically leaking all these videos to expose Kurt Gooch that he was selling this stuff. Now, you guys probably don't know anything about this, but isn't it funny that everything that Kurt Gooch owns ends up stolen? Now, he was trying to work on a Van Halen documentary not too long ago. Now his Van Halen stuff's been stolen. It's appearing on the internet. How is that even possible? So the unfortunate part about this, and the reason why I kind of went into the whole spiel about my movies before this is because Kurt had a problem with this. Kurt decided to come after me and make me this scapegoat. First, he said I stole from him, and then later on, the story changed, and now I stole directly from Kiss. Couldn't happen. The worst part about this is he realizes that he can't win against me. I've taken everything I have off YouTube, lost all my 2 million views. I started my own website, which is andrewscambatti.com. I privately host everything on there. And he was starting to attack my website, attack my Vimeo channel. And this guy was calling me every single day, threatening me every single day, emailing me every single day, asking me what my address was, where he could serve me. He couldn't get my stuff taken down. He could not get my stuff taken down the website. So he couldn't do that. So he decided to fabricate some email that I threatened to shoot up him and his son's school. And the FBI actually came to my office to talk to me about this. Yes.
Oh my God.
Over fucking, I curse on this show?
Yeah.
A couple of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking Kiss videos. Now I've cleared because the FBI could find out where an email came from faster than I could find the fridge. I've been cleared.
Oh.
I've been dealing with this bullshit for over a year because this guy won't leave me alone. And you know what? Now he's left me alone because now he's dealing with the Van Halen community because the same shit's happening. So what does that tell you? What is that? So it's like, how does everything this guy own get stolen? Well, I'll tell you how. He's been selling it to the highest bidder for years and years and years.
Wow. So in a way, Andrew, Jimmy is right. There is an upper echelon of Van Halen and Kiss fans out there trading amongst themselves.
Yeah. And listen, I've helped source some things. I've purchased some reels. I've had some reels transfer. I've had some things done. I've gone in with some friends and we've done that. And we're not hoarders per se, but if we spend the time and the money to find something or transfer something, I don't want to see it online, downloaded everywhere. Also, too, the guys that I went in with, I don't want to betray them or betray their trust or kind of put them on blast. So it's not a thing where we're hoarding per se. We just kind of spent the time and the effort in doing this. Now, the unfortunate part about this is if you were ever went in on something with Kurt, it always ended up leaking and being sold. Because what he would do is he would source these clips. He would say, okay, we're going to keep it here. And then he would be selling it to everybody out the back door, probably before, the ink was dry on this. So I'm just reading some comments here because someone wants to know how the YouTube copyright claims work. And I think you guys were kind of talking about that before. I know about this because my channel got taken down. Now, you were saying that YouTube kind of does its due diligence and will basically only take something down if you have the right documentation. That's baloney. If you scream loud enough, YouTube will take a video down. I know this because I was on Eddie Trunk in 2020 to promote my movie Kiss Live 96. Somehow Kurt thinks he owns that appearance and sent me a copyright strike on that. He doesn't own that. But what Kurt would do is well, first of all, let me tell you something about this guy. He barely knows how to spell DVD. That's how this all happened, because he has no idea what he's doing. To the point where he has no idea what he's doing, that when he was selling this 3 terabyte hard drive full of Kiss footage, it was in the same file type and the file name, how he got it. So basically, if you got a clip from you and you name this, hey, 666-55511.mov, when he was selling it, the file name was exactly the same. So it was clear what this guy was doing. Furthermore, all in the metadata of these files, it was littered with people's names who actually worked on this stuff, who actually did these transfers, the people that were providing Kurt Gooch with all this footage so we can go in and fucking sell it. Now, when I got the 3 terabyte hard drive from somebody of all this Kiss footage, the stupid person that sold it left his personal videos on the hard drive of him getting the Gene Simmons vault. It was madness, complete madness. And I'm sorry if I sound a little manic. I've been dealing with this for like over a year and a half. The FBI just dropped the charges on me 2 days ago. I had no worry that, like, I never thought I was going to prison for this because I didn't do it. But like, I've been harassed over Kiss videos. It's insane. So, like I said, I'm only a casual Van Halen fan. But when I saw that this was leaking, I thought it was hilarious. And then I read through the comments, and who's in the comments? Elite Works at eBay, which is Kurt Gooch, who thinks he owns everything. Actually, the unfortunate part about this is whenever I look at
that was my question. Elite Works is Kurt Gooch.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Right.
It's just
because Andrew, I've heard of you because I listen to Eddie Trunk too, and I think I went to your website. I don't know, 2 years ago or something like that to see that. I'm not a huge Kiss fan. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know all the music, but I love the history and stuff, so I'm intrigued by it. Mm-hmm. So I kind of following Eddie Trunk, I know that all this Kiss footage got leaked. I don't know, around Christmas time last year or something.
It was I only know because that's when this guy started threatening me. I believe it was in July or August of 2022.
Okay, yeah. So I'm it's interesting. All right.
So, the worst part about this is, Kurt knows that he sold all this footage, and Kurt knows that, he's getting put on blast. So he's got to name somebody, and he's going to, be naming me. And of course, I had nothing to do with any of this. The thing too is when I bought this hard drive full of stuff, it was a hard drive. And then in addition, it was like 19 DVDs. Half the DVDs that it showed to me didn't even work. So I'm still trying to get working copies of stuff that I actually paid for. And this stuff is just popping up online every single day, new Kiss footage, and people are freaking out over footage they never saw. Cobo Hall 1975, New Angle of Anaheim 76, Largo 75. And I'm still waiting to get the DVDs of the stuff that I paid for and showing up online. But this, you guys mentioned a friend of mine. His name is Alan Berry. He runs the Tapes Archives. Kurt Gooch has been harassing that guy too. So I've sort of made a friend with this guy because we've both been harassed by the same guy. Now, I'm not going to get into anything, I think Alan, is going to talk about his own thing, and I'm certainly not going to put any words in the guy's mouth because I like the guy, but he was doing the same thing, but it's insane that someone literally just sits on the computer all day and just waits for videos to come up. I saw that the Donington concert was posted again, probably maybe, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes before I got on the podcast, and I look at the Donington video, who's already in the comments? Kurt Gooch. Now, why would he be sitting there looking for this if he was trying, why would he care?
Yeah.
He can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So once it's out there, but he has this obsession that he thinks he owns everything. And I'm telling you,
Andrew, if I can interrupt, what's he saying in the comments? Like, this footage is mine,
So this is the last one, and it says, strike, remove it once. If you don't own it, don't steal from others. Come on, man.
He's not necessarily saying that it's his footage then.
Well, this in other comments he has. This is just the most recent one.
Okay.
This is a long, storied history.
No, I understand. I just mean that maybe he's trying to cover his ass, not really saying that it's, not really going out there and saying that, hey, I own this, but he still wants people to, take it down.
Yeah, he wants people to take it down. Now, if any, I mean, I know one of you guys, I think it was, I don't remember who messaged me on Facebook, but if you look at my Facebook, it's public. I posted literally everything on my Facebook, screenshots, everything, documenting all this, documenting all the times he's harassed me, left me voicemails, emails, I posted literally everything because I'm 38 years old. I'm too old for this shit. But it got to a point where it was so bad that I had to get more people's eyes on it. And I hoping that if people would see and realize what was going on, other people would speak up too, because I know there are other people that are being harassed just like me. So, and hundreds and thousands of Kiss videos have been taken down by this guy for absolutely no reason. I mean, you look up anything from the Kissology series, it's all taken down because Kurt says he owns it, but he doesn't. So now he's trying to do the same thing with this Van Halen footage. Now, I did see some comments. I mean, there's, like I said, I'm not a diehard Van Halen fan. I don't collect unreleased Van Halen footage, but it's my understanding that there is as much Van Halen footage as there was Kiss footage that leaked last year. Now, I
Really?
don't believe this is from Noel Monk. But again, I don't know. I'm not deep into, like, I don't know about any of this stuff. I just know that the guy that's harassing Van Halen fans is the same guy that harassed me. So I'm assuming what he did is he somehow got all this footage. He probably went in with people and bought it. He was probably trying to sell the footage back to Alex or David. They probably don't care, or they probably have it. So now that he can't license it or sell it back to the band, now he's trying to sell it to other fans. I mean, that's how this stuff comes out. I mean, he sells it to too many people, and then the wrong person's like, well, I'm going to put it on Disc Japan or wherever. I mean, if you look at Disc Japan, there's tons of Kiss shows on there of all the stuff that was on this 3 terabyte hard drive that he sold. So,
do you have any idea? I mean, if what other footage there might be for Van Halen? Probably not, but just
I don't. I was super shocked to even just see this, and again, I just, I watched it just as I think I watched something on YouTube, and I don't even think I even saw the complete thing because it was only one angle. But I don't know. So Kiss FAQ says Google Pacific Titles Archives list. So I mean, yeah. I mean, listen, it feels really, really good to finally talk about this because, again, like, I've been harassed. I mean, can you guys imagine you're a fan of Van Halen and the FBI comes to your house about Van Halen video bullshit?
Scary stuff.
It wasn't like, here's the only reason why it didn't scare me was because I knew I hadn't done anything wrong. So there
what it is? It's like, I think you said that they showed up at your work. Now you have to explain to people, like, the FBI is after me because of Kiss videos, which sounds ridiculous, but it's true.
Luckily where I work, they were very understanding. They actually thought it was pretty funny that it actually happened because it was kind of funny. But I wasn't worried at all because I hadn't done anything. But it escalated to the point because he knew he could no longer take down my video.
What was the FBI charge? Like, what?
So,
I would actually like to know what the FBI charged you with.
Okay. Here, I'm gonna read the actual, because since the case is closed, I actually have copies of the police report. Because Kurt Gooch lives in Edmond, Oklahoma. That's public record, so I'm not breaking any rules by saying that. So what
that
Kurt
says a lot right there.
What's that?
That says a lot right there.
Yeah. So what Kurt claims is when he realized he couldn't, like, take down my videos and sue me, he fabricated an email that was sent.
Oh, but you're going to shoot up the school.
Yes, he fabricated I was going to shoot school. So this is the email.
Right.
I'm going to read you the email because what I believe, and I don't have any hard proof of all of this, but I believe that Kurt sent himself the email, because not only did he send himself the email on May 25th of 2023, he didn't take any action on this until June 6th. This guy never leaves in front of his computer. He doesn't have a job. All he does is sit in front of the computer and look for Kiss video bullshit on YouTube. So whoever's in the comments that says they're Kurt Gooch, that guy he's lying, because I had to actually get the real information. So yeah, that guy's lying. Sorry to break it to you.
Kurt.
I actually, I work, you know, I'm not going to tell anybody what I do for a living, but what I do for a living is I'm able to look up things, and I know where Kurt Gooch lives. So nice try. Anyway,
Kurt, if I can interject,
yeah, absolutely.
Kurt, if you want to contact me after this, and we can talk about the 1984 Pro Shot, I'll set.
All right, so this is the email, because I'm going to read the email to you.
Me too.
Yeah.
Now, again, I think he sent this email to himself in order to try and incriminate me, because I'll tell you something. All the people that are getting their stuff taken down on YouTube, they don't care about Kurt. They don't care about his son. I never knew the guy had a son. So someone would only fabricate this email knowing that, well, I can't get his videos taken down. Let's get the FBI involved. So here's the email. I know where you live, Kurt. No shit. I know where your chubby son goes to school. Keep harassing people on YouTube, social, and taking down videos that you don't even own, and you will hurt. You don't care about yourself. How about your son? I know where he goes to school. It will be a damn shame if I have to visit his school and blow his brains out. I'll kill some other kids to make it a mass shooting. Drop it and move on. Now, people are pissed their videos getting taken down, but nobody is threatening this guy's life. Nobody ever has. And yes, the guy's real name is actually Kurt Gooch. That's his real name.
I like how he wrote that. Let's say he wrote that himself.
He called his son fat. His own son fat.
That's the best.
It's the best. So here's where it gets interesting. And I didn't have this information until recently because I didn't have a copy of the police report. But he forwarded this to, and he's in Central Time. I'm in Eastern Time. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. He forwarded this to Detective Chad Brown, June 6th at 2:57 p.m. Now, if you're going to the police, are you going to call the person that you're about to incriminate to the police before you go to the police station? Probably not. But he did call me on 6/6 at 3:39 Eastern Standard Time. So basically, he called me, hangs up the phone, and then goes to the police. Who's gonna do that? It's madness. I didn't know that detail until I had the police report. Anyway, so the police did their investigation. They realize I've done nothing, and I'm free to go about my business. But it's starting again with Van Halen videos. So somebody, and you know what? He's probably going to say that I leaked the Van Halen video. Do it. I don't care. I've never done anything. Can't prove anything. But he's doing the same thing to the Van Halen community, like he did to the Kiss community. He wants to act like he owns everything because he wants to monetize it and he wants to sell it for himself. This guy doesn't have a job. What he does is he illegally sells videos. He does.
Well,
how much money can you make off that? I guess you can make good money off that, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So originally and this is just hearsay, but I have it from a really, really good source that the first time he sold the Kiss hard drive was for $10,000. That's the first time. I mean, it's been sold a lot of times because everybody has this thing now. And I tell you, by the time the drive got to me, I paid a fraction of that. 1/10 of that.
$10,000? People paid $10,000?
This was the stuff on this hard drive was not only stuff that was unreleased, but it was stuff that may or may not have belonged to Kiss that he stole from Kiss and then started selling. Because I'll tell you something, he's the only one out of all of us that have had access to Kiss because he worked in the documentary.
Oh yeah.
So it doesn't take anybody with any sort of brilliance to understand what actually happened on this one. So, okay, now that that's out there, questions. I'd love to answer questions about it.
Wow. Yeah, like I said, I mean, I kind of knew a little bit about this, and I'll tell you, like the first thing that popped into my head when I saw that this Van Halen stuff was leaked, I'm like, this is a lot. It's funny this is unfolding like this because my first thing was like, this is a lot like that leaked, Kiss stuff that I heard about that, Eddie Trunk was saying, like over a span of like 2 or 3 weekends, all this shit, showed up on YouTube. Again, I'm not a huge Kiss guy, but I do, I've seen them live and, it interests me. The whole history interests me with like, all the different band members and stuff. So, I paid attention, but the first thing that popped into my head was that, wow, this is a lot like that leaked Kiss footage that I heard about. I
How is
really
the
just
same
want to
thing
find
going to
out.
happen to the same guy with two different bands and two different fan circles?
Now, where do you think he got, like, if it was Kurt Gooch, Kurt, if you can chime in too if you if
It's
that's
not.
really
It's
here.
not really him,
I
but
know. Where do you think you're saying that he might have gotten this from, because people were talking about that Noel Monk, thing where when he died, he sold stuff for his estate, and there was like rumors that there might be some unreleased, stuff, in that whole, estate sale. So do you think he got it from there? Or?
I don't think it came from there. There was a comment about, I believe, where it came from. Hold on, I'm just going to scroll back and see if I can find that comment, because there was like a 10-page document. It's Pacific Titles. There's a 10-page document that's been on the internet for years and years and years and years and years. And I'll show you some, because I got this. I mean, I just found this on the internet, but this is like a 10-page document that was on there, that if you just search that, you'll see the same thing. I'm sorry that it's blurry. I'm trying to do the best I can.
Is that what that guy said? Google's, when he just said Google this specific something? Is that
Yes,
what
that's where this came from. Yes, 110%. 110%.
Wow.
110%. That's where this came from. So you probably can't see it. It's blurry, but I'm telling you, you could just find it on Google. It's been there for years.
And what does that show?
What's that?
What does it show?
Pacific Titles Archive. So what it shows, I'll just read you some of the things off this list, because again, it's nothing that you can't find online for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the pages, and this is page 3. Us Festival, Untitled 3/4 Master Tape. Hear about it later. So This Is Love, Unchained, Commercial Spot, Dance the Night Away, Commercial Spot, Ballroom Dancing Scene, Dance the Night Away. 3/4 Master Tape, Live at the Us Festival, Capitol Center, 10/12/82, Capitol Center, 10/11/82, Part 2, 60 minutes.
Wow.
3 work tapes, do not copy. Hot for Teacher, no audio. Hot for Teacher, time code, no audio. Us Festival, time code. But all this stuff is here.
Okay. I mean, from that list, I think a lot of that stuff's been, is out there in the general public anyway already.
I think it's not, it's raw footage. It's not like just the video. It's like the footage that they use to assemble those officially released videos.
I got you. Okay.
But there's 10 pages of this stuff. Because it's the same as, what the Kiss stuff was. Now the base of the smoking gun on this one is, obviously Kurt's like, oh, he stole from me, he stole from Kiss, and blah, 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 this and that. So on this hard drive, basically what it is were D2 master tapes. Kiss basically digitizing all of their stuff in kind of no order, no rhyme, no reason. So there was like these giant 30 gigabyte files just full of 2 hours of stuff, them just dumping in. So it was Kiss's D2 archives from 1994, 95. Not really sure on the date on that one. I know it was before they put the makeup back on, because this is all before that.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to this whole thing leaking, Kurt was sending emails to people with a list of all of the D2 stuff that he was trying to sell to the highest bidder. So if Kurt had a list of all of Kiss's D2 archives and was trying to sell it before it leaked, who do you think is the one that was responsible for leaking it? So I posted this all on my Facebook page. I posted a screen capture of the email that shows Kurt trying to do this. I posted a copy of the list. Now, the other smoking gun on this one is the D2 archive list is in Kurt's handwriting. And that was circulating as well, too. So it's all the evidence is pretty damning. And what's most frustrating about this is there are people that can corroborate this and that know exactly what has happened, and they just won't speak up because either they'll lose their meal ticket to fucking Kiss videos, so they don't talk about it. So, the unfortunate part about the Kiss community, and I don't know if this is the same as it is in the Van Halen community, but, these people would trip their mothers to get a rare Kiss video. I could give a shit.
Wow.
I could give a shit about this.
No different.
Wow.
Maybe some people don't know that the FBI actually came after me over this, that maybe they would speak up. So I'm hoping that doing more things like this, talking about it, posting screenshots, posting legitimate evidence will finally get this guy to, I don't know, I just want him to go away. I want him to go someplace where he never has the internet, and we can kind of all do what we do without him. That's really all.
That's
It's
called
interesting.
jail.
Yeah. It's interesting you should say that, Andrew, because I live in New Zealand, so I'm halfway around the world, and I've been hanging out with these guys for a couple of years, and on social media talking about Van Halen things for a long time too. And I've never heard of this in the Van Halen community. I've never heard of this, and I'm scared that this could be the introduction of this kind of behavior in the Van Halen community, and that's pretty scary.
Well, the behavior is probably only going to be with this guy because he wants to threaten people to do his bidding for him. Either he wants you not to post the video that he owns, or he wants to be the one to sell it to you. Now, it's
Okay.
it's nonsense. If this guy spent as much time as he does hunting down videos as he did to, I don't know, fucking get a real job, he would probably make a decent living, but he just won't get a job and be a part of the community. He just won't do it.
Yeah.
So it's sad that it came time to things like this. Now let's talk about the complete other spectrum of it. Let's just say, for example, that KISS or Universal or McGee Internet, let's just say that if any of those people came to me and say, "Hey, Andrew, don't post those videos." Totally cool. You guys are the legitimate owners. But the unfortunate part about all this is, even though KISS maybe had copies of all of this stuff, the actual legalities are muddy at best. Who owns the footage that was shot at the Capitol Center? Does the Capitol Center own it? Did KISS purchase a copy of it? Did Van Halen purchase a copy of it? Does he own the master? Like, it's basically muddy at best, and that's the only reason why KISS hasn't spoken up about this, because they don't want to muddy the water with something that they don't legitimately own. So, I hope that Van Halen took more care of their archives than KISS did, because from my understanding, KISS never did anything about this, and they're well aware of what's going on. Well aware what's going on.
When you were talking about this footage, for KISS coming out and being pulled, that wasn't pulled by Gene and Paul, and
absolutely not.
Yeah,
absolutely not. And
did it say? I don't know if you looked, but did it say something like this video has been pulled because of a copyright from works at eBay or whatever?
Works at eBay, and then he uses the same line: unpublished work, unpublished work, unpublished work. Somehow he thought that my movie on KISS's 2020 tour was his unpublished work. It's a bunch of malarkey. He doesn't own anything, and he just literally sits on YouTube and just gets things taken down. He really does. Yeah, he bought stuff from Alan Kaufman in the early 2000s. So he owns copies of some of the Motley Crue stuff. He probably doesn't own the rights to it, but he owns copies of it. So who cares? But what Kurt would do, and he's got a partner, his name is Jeff Suze. He's just as guilty as Kurt Gooch is, because he knew what was going on. He knew about the whole FBI nonsense and knew about falsifying all that stuff. But what they would do is they would create these shell companies. Sometimes they were called Applause Media, or they were called LA Video. And they would say that, okay, I'm with LA Video, I'm going to license KISS this footage, when he owns LA Video. So it's just a way for him to pay himself. And then when they're like, well, hey, we thought LA Video owned this, and Kurt Gooch is like, I don't know what they do. So he would create these companies as a way for him to illegally sell videos and then have no legal repercussions on it. Now, it's unfortunate. Now, it's apparent to me that he's probably stopped doing this because nobody deals with this guy anymore, because he's been selling stuff out the back door for God knows how long. But he made a career out of lying, cheating, and stealing. And none of this stuff is like, I'm probably blowing up the Van Halen community right now by talking about this, but everybody in the KISS community knows about Kurt Gooch, and they know what he's done.
Andrew, I don't think a lot of people in the Van Halen community have any idea about. So, yeah, thank you for giving us this explanation of your experience with this guy, because you know, to have the FBI knock on your door, you know, I watch Netflix documentaries. You know, when the FBI knock on your door, yeah,
it was nonsense, just complete and utter nonsense. So I'm hoping that maybe the end is in sight on this, but sometimes I don't think it's ever going to end. But I can't stay quiet anymore. I can't
appreciate it.
I can't take it on the chin anymore.
Appreciate it.
Andrew,
yeah,
is he doing this to other people other than you? Also, it's the same kind of
people, but because I had such a well-known face and I had such a well-known channel, he came after me the hardest, and he basically pins all of this on me, as far as, you know, he stole the Kiss video. He's the one that leaked it. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Now, there's a question from Senorita Laurie Stroder.
That's a spoof account, because that is actually Kurt Gooch in that picture, by the way. That's actually Kurt Gooch.
Oh, he's a handsome fella.
Okay, so the hard drive that I purchased, it came from this Mark Scalatino guy. So Kurt sold it to Mark Scalatino. Mark Scalatino ended up selling it, and that's how I got it. Now, people might know the name Mark Scalatino. He tried to release a Kiss photo book in the early 2000s, but unfortunately, he used the Kiss logo, and Kiss sued him and won.
Wow.
So it's my understanding that Mark Scalatino wants his name left out of everything and wants to be left alone because Kiss already sued him once before. But too bad, Mark Scalatino. The FBI came to my fucking house. You know, you could have made this right a long ass time ago, and you decided not to. So there are many people that could have made this right, and they didn't. So that's why I have to come in here and I have to, you know, do this. I mean, this. You think this is how I want to spend my Friday night talking about stupid Kiss videos? Yes, I'm a Kiss fan. I mean, look, you see, I'm in a giant Kiss room and everything is Kiss in here. Yes, I love the band. This is my hobby.
No, we appreciate the fact that you've come on and given us and Van Halen fans an insight into where, Andrew, this video's gone, because as Jimmy said, you know, at the top of the show, you know, there are levels, and he said, you know, I don't want to sound like an Illuminati conspiracy theorist,
that's actually what it is.
But you've just proven that there are levels of haves and have-nots as far as the fan community goes. That's a shock. Look, I'm naive. I don't.
I wish I was naive. I really do.
I don't know anything about this shit, bro. This is fascinating and interesting, and obviously it comes down to the fact that this guy Kurt wants to make a living out of owning videos that probably he doesn't own.
Doesn't own them. Never has owned them. Doesn't own anything.
You know, the funny thing with Kiss is, you know, I wouldn't mess with Gene or Paul with their attorneys for their music or their material, like leaking or even trying to sell with those guys, because those guys are so fiercely protective, like anybody else would be. But, you know, it's always with them, it's about the righteous stuff, you know.
Yeah, but that just kind of lets you know that we don't know the actual legalities of this footage.
And it just sucks that this guy's just taking the not the fun, but
he is taking the fun out of it. And you know, and here's the thing: at the end of the day, Gene or Paul don't care that Kurt Gooch is harassing me. They don't. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. But I'm hoping that at some point maybe they get involved, because they could put a stop to this tomorrow if they wanted to. But who knows what, you know, is really going on. But again, you know, this guy needs to go away for a long time. And I'll tell you something. I will be shocked if Kurt Gooch doesn't copyright this video.
Oh man.
I'll keep that in mind when I watch it on my hard drive later on tonight.
Exactly. Andrew, so here,
I'll think of him. I'm like, thank you, Kurt.
Thanks, Kurt.
Yeah, I'll tell you too. This also goes to how I know he owns literally nothing. So once my stuff got taken off of YouTube, I went on to the Vimeo website, which is another popular website. and he was copyright striking me on Vimeo. The big difference with Vimeo and YouTube is I could actually talk to somebody at Vimeo, and I pleaded my case. I go, this guy doesn't own anything. I'm going to challenge every single copyright strike that he gave me because he doesn't own it. So they go, great. I go, you'll submit a counterclaim, and he has 10 business days to respond and show legal proof that he owns these videos that he's claiming he does. And guess what? After 10 days, he did not show no proof, and my videos were restored on Vimeo. That tells you everything you got to know. Because if he legitimately owned a millisecond of anything in these videos legally, it doesn't take any. I mean, if you legally own something, you can prove you legally own it. Oh, you're going to give me 10 days to send an email or send a certified letter? Done. I can do it tomorrow. But this guy was given 10 business days to do that, and he didn't. And everything of mine was restored. The unfortunate part about it is I can never talk to a human being at YouTube. So trying to argue with their email bots to try and counterclaim something is impossible. So that's why I've just taken everything off of YouTube and just went to Vimeo. And then I went to Vimeo, and then there's also everything is privately hosted on my website.
Sure.
Which isn't, that costs me money every month to do that. It costs me money to host the videos. It costs me money to host the website, but that's okay because I want to share this work with people. I want them to see the band the way that I see the band. And it's fun for me. Like, I'm sure, this is basically your guys' bowling night. Well, my bowling night is, watching Kiss videos and just having fun and remembering why you were a Kiss fan or remembering what's the first thing that you saw. And the good thing about it is other people tell me I have this talent to tell the story. So, and I want to share that with people. So, and it was fun for me. It was really, really fun for me. I mean, listen, if everything I was doing was a load of crap and a load of malarkey, I wouldn't have had 2 million views on YouTube. I mean, I'm one guy. I was doing these shows. Yes, I was on A-Trunk and I did all these other things, but I 2 million views, and I think 2 million views. There was like 4 videos I had on there. People just loved these things. They loved the feeling that it made. And one of the biggest ones I released, which was called One Last Time, I released it during COVID. So people had nothing to do but sit in front of the computer. And as I was promoting and advertising it, I was putting you back into the front row of a concert. And people really, really enjoyed that. And the coolest thing about it was reading the comments of all the fans that watched it. And people telling me that, me and my family, we put on our concert t-shirts, so we sat and watched your movie. Like, that stuff was cool. Yeah. I'm just a regular guy, just like everyone else. I have good days. I have bad days. But when I had the bad days and I go and I read those comments about some guy saying that I helped him organize his family night, like, that was cool. I can't do that anymore because all those comments are gone. All that stuff is gone. And it was taken away from someone who doesn't own it and who just had thought that he owned Kiss videos and thought that he was going to, not let the world see these things or wanted to sell them. So, I've been really pissed for a really long time, and now it's time to tell everybody my story.
Well, look, Andrew, I appreciate the fact that you've decided to jump on our little channel here and give your side of the story and of what's happened with the scenario with the disappearance of the Van Halen video. Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense, Jimmy. And
well, it's funny because, like, I was talking to Andrew and Conks and even Les, hours ago. I'm like, yeah, there's this, elite. There's this guy, elite, blah blah blah, at eBay, and like, this whole thing unraveled, man.
Yeah. Well, you sent some screenshots in Messenger saying what's going. Yeah. No, so again, Andrew, none of us have got any idea, and we're going to put our hand up and be honest. And none of us have got any idea that this is happening. But as a Kiwi, as a New Zealander, I'm going to say America is a strange place, bro.
It is a strange place. It very much is.
Hey, man, no good deed ever goes unfucking punished.
Yeah. Here, I'll mention I'll mention one more thing. So if anybody in the comments is looking for a lot of the information on here, I did post this on my YouTube, on my my Facebook page on August 10th. It's got pictures and everything, like screenshots and everything. And Kurt's stupid buddy Jeff Suze left himself. You know, I tagged him in the post, and he left the tag on it like a moron, idiot. But anyway, initially when Kurt started harassing me, I don't know if you could see this. When Kurt started harassing me, he was, it's too blurry. You just go to this post is on my Facebook page on August 10th. But when Kurt was first starting harassing me, he was masking his email address like he was UMG Inc., Universal Music Group Incorporated.
Oh, wow.
But he's not, because UMG is just capital UMG. And then when I went to the written matter and found out who UMG Inc. was, it was Kurt's email address. So the same thing that happened with me is probably going to happen with the Van Halen community. But I'll tell you this. One Kiss video leaked, and then hundreds of Kiss videos leaked. So if you're a Van Halen fan, there's probably going to be more Van Halen videos that are going to leak.
Wow.
Once they leak, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. You just can't.
The genie does
I
not go back.
already got mine, right, Cox?
I got mine. You better get yours.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, that like I said, that's the first thing I thought about. Like when I started, I'm like, when I saw this video leak, especially when it was like an hour and 6 minutes, I'm like, this is a lot like that Kiss stuff, man.
Yep.
And even Eddie Trunk posted about it, and I was like, this is a lot like, that's when I was like, this is a lot like that Kiss stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
I
I came across Andrew's site. If you guys are Kiss fans, man, it's a cool site. So there's great videos on there. So check it out.
Andrew, how can we get hold of you? Conks, have you got Andrew's social media contacts that you can share with us at the end of the show so that we can attach all his information to this description?
Yeah,
it's what we do, Andrew. It's part.
I appreciate that. It's just one link. You can find me. It's andrewscambatti.com. Just my first and last name.com.
Okay, so we'll attach that, and if folks are watching on a replay and you've got an hour and 41 minutes into the show and you want to find Andrew,
they're like,
his links will be on the description.
Yeah, somebody's watching this and their wife is probably like, why is that guy still yelling after an hour and 40 minutes? What's he yelling about?
Now that Kurt guy's probably filling out applications left and right because you just crumbled the empire.
Yeah, a different kind of gooch.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Imagine that's your name. That's your name. That's his real name. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I appreciate you guys giving me the floor and letting me talk. There's another. Oddly enough, there's another Van Halen podcast that invited me on this morning. I haven't responded back to them yet. I actually, one of my really good friends is ex-Kiss guitarist Bruce Kulick, and I've been working on a video for him this evening. That's why I haven't responded to the other Van Halen, but I'm probably going to go on and I'm probably going to tell my story there too, because I'm just sick of it. I really am. No,
I appreciate you coming on, breaking the story with us. Thank you, brother.
I appreciate you having me. I really do.
Intriguing stuff, man. Intriguing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude, this is crazy. FBI coming after you for Kiss videos. I mean,
I know. And then, so the funniest part about this whole thing was when I explained to the FBI what happened. And I was like, this is over Kiss videos. And you could tell it was two women that came. You could tell she was like, I got better things to do than this.
Yeah.
But I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried one bit because, I hadn't done anything, and it's a way. It's a funny story now.
I was thinking this should be like a limited series doc on Netflix. That'd be great.
Can you? No one watched it because it'd be like, oh, you hear about the underground world of Kiss videos. Everyone's like, we don't care about Kiss. Like, what the heck? Like
Kings and Satan's service.
Yeah, it's so silly, so silly.
When I was a kid, the preacher at church, he told me that Kiss stood for Kings and Satan's service, and I was like 6 or 7.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I heard it standing for kids in your sister's skirt.
Probably.
But I
Oh,
mean,
my
it's
Lord.
it's I couldn't make this up if I tried.
Yeah,
Couldn't make it up if I tried.
Wow.
fascinating stuff, man.
All right. Anybody else have any
Crazy,
questions
crazy
or
night.
anything? So I think there's somebody that keeps. I wish I could read Spanish. I can't. I'm sorry, but there's a guy, Senorita Lord. I can't read Spanish. I'm sorry, and
Nor can
I'm
I.
not gonna get political either. So
He's in trouble
No.
again.
Yeah. No politics here, brother.
no, this is just about cool music.
I
No
can make out what
politics.
that says, though. That's
Yeah. Please, no politics.
No,
No politics.
No apolitical blues either.
crossing
Yeah.
Gooch over. That's just. I mean,
some dude wrote apolitical gooch.
Dance the gooch
know,
away.
yeah. So I'm hoping that this all I could finally put it all to bed.
Well,
Yeah,
well, Andrew, all we can say is, good luck for what you're doing with your projects. Obviously, as one music fan myself, and I'm sure I can't speak for the other hosts here on the channel, but I always love it when I meet somebody that has a passion for music. I don't know a lot about Kiss, but remember when we were young and we dug somebody that was really into music, that had a band that they loved or an artist, and it was like, yeah, that cat's cool. He's all right.
Yeah, I mean the thing. I was really young when I got into Kiss. I liked them before I even liked music because I had the comic book, and then I watched Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, and I just remember there was like a moment in my life when I was 5 or 6 when I realized that Superman and the Ninja Turtles weren't real, but Kiss was real, and they actually descended from the speaker cabinets, and it was one of those things where it was real, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I'm 38
Good
now.
point.
I was part of like the era where there weren't a lot of young Kiss fans. There are a lot of young Kiss fans now, and
Really?
but back in tons. You can go to Walmart and buy a Kiss shirt, but when I was a fan in '95, you couldn't do that. And then when I was seeing Kiss in '96 and '98, I was the youngest diehard Kiss fan that I knew. That generation wasn't there.
How many
I
times
was
have you
into
seen
Animal
Kiss live?
How many
Kiss
times
is
did I see
like-
Kiss live? 50 times.
Wow.
And I'm
Kiss is
going
like-
to the last 2 shows in New York City in December.
Kiss was like a gateway drug for us. We all started with Kiss and then quickly moved to Van Halen.
I started with Kiss, and I never really looked back.
You never
Do you have
graduated.
a Kiss coffin?
No, but
My
I
friends
hear
got
it doubles
one.
as a cooler. So
Did you ever meet any of them?
yeah, Eric Singer has been a really good friend of mine for close to 20 years. Bruce is a friend of mine. I used to do Peter Chris's website. I worked for Gene Simmons' Moneybag Soda doing promotions, so I know Gene as well. I know Tommy Thayer. So I've gotten in with the band. I've gotten close to these guys, and not just by a meet and greet. So
Okay, so I've got one question. You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, if it's going to get you into trouble.
Mm.
The guys from Kiss know about this issue, the struggle that you had with Cooch?
they know about Kurt Gooch. I obviously didn't want to bother them about Kurt Gooch sending the FBI on me. So they don't know.
Okay.
They don't know. Well, some of them do, but some of them don't.
So what have they expressed to you in return for them knowing about this guy Cooch and what he's
Well,
done?
see, that I don't know. I've given the information to the right parties. I may never know what the outcome is on that. Or maybe it's possible they're not going to do anything. I don't know. That's a whole world that I don't know about, unfortunately.
Is your case closed?
The FBI, yeah, the case was closed as of August 21st.
Okay.
Brilliant.
And that's once it was closed, that's when I got the copy of the police report.
Good.
I was able to kind of post and share everything. I mean, I knew it was going to be closed because I didn't do anything. So, but yeah, the case is closed, and I'll tell you the reason that it was closed. Hold on, because again,
While you're finding that, promise me that when we do a Kiss special or a Kiss show on the channel, you'll come back as a special guest.
Sure, absolutely. So it was closed for lack of prosecutable merit.
Okay.
Bullshit. And
No proof. That means no proof.
No proof. They could find where an email came from faster than I could find the fridge.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's the FBI, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're a Van Halen fan, and if you're, online and you see this Elite Works at eBay guy
Okay.
telling you that he owns something, just calmly and say, okay, great, show me proof. Here, you can give them my address and say, okay, you can send me written documentation. I need you to forward it to my attorney's house. Then it'll be my house, and then he could sit on it.
Wow.
What do we want to do, guys? Do we want to end the show, the stream? Do you want to do a quick conclusion and have a chat with Andrew after, or do we want to let Andrew go? And
if you want to chat after offline, more than happy to hang out.
Okay. I think what we might do is we might end the stream soon, guys. What do you think? And we'll have a chat with
Andrew. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, is to find more Van Halen footage, pro shop footage.
Okay, I accept. I accept that mission.
Even if it's not pro shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're pretty close to the 2-hour mark. So look, ladies and gentlemen, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you guys live. If you're watching on a replay, it's even better that you've taken your time out to watch what we've had to say. We've always have a bit of fun here on the channel. And on this show, it's extra special, I suppose, because we've had the pleasure and the privilege of Andrew coming on, giving us Van Halen fans a little bit of an insider experience of that upper level of fan craziness that
nonsense. You mean nonsense?
Nonsense that that happens in some of the music communities, and hopefully isn't going to be part of ours. Jimmy and John and
Hope so.
Les.
Yes. Well, I mean, I feel a little vindicated that there is this underground thing, man. I fucking knew it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's like a fight club for KISS members underground.
yeah. I mean, I heard about this back, like, I don't know, when was I doing? I mean, this was like the beginning of the internet, like 98. But yeah, probably around like 97, 98.
With a lot of the chat rooms.
Yeah, that's when I kind of like stumbled across it. Anyway, that's fascinating. Anyway. Yep.
Jimmy, do you want to do a shout out?
Shout out,
everybody.
I'm gonna do a shout out. Good night shout out. But if I skip somebody, this is my first time doing it. So if I skip somebody, I'm very sorry. All I see is the chat. I don't have a concise list, but I will begin. Randy Price, thank you. Desk Chicken, I'm not sure if these guys are still here, but thank you for being here. A new guy, our señorita Lori Strode. I gotta say, man, he was writing in Spanish or something. So, but dude, man, I'm Greek, so if you know a second language,
it's all Greek to me.
Perfect, man, perfect. WD 5150, thank you, man. Here's one of the regulars, R2 R3 Locking Nut. Thanks, bro. We got Millennial Modeler. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you. Diamond D, thank you. Tanner Lee Roth, we know Tanner. Hey, bro. Kiss FAQ, new. I guess some of these guys snuck in because of the Kiss content, so thank you. Nerd Halen, Caleb, thanks, bro. Kurt Gooch, I don't think that's Kurt, but if it is, contact me about that 1984, bro.
Thanks,
we can scrounge up some money. Me, Andrew, Cox and
I got
Les.
I got $2.
Yeah,
I got Venmo, Brian.
Yeah. What else? Who else we got here? Oh, Kurt 5150. Hey, Bo. Great to see you on here, man. Thanks, dude. We got that's Tanner. Oh, John Conklin, man. John, thanks for being here today. Thanks, bro.
Here?
Kurt's massive EVH Rection. I like that. That's really cool. Andy Carson.
Until we gooch again.
Who else we got? Oh, Ace Kicks. Great photo of Ace right there. I love it, bro. Who else? I want to thank. Oh, Classic Kiss 7383. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, these are like Kiss guys, so thanks for tuning into this. Everybody contributed to that whole discussion, so thank you. What else? I'm doing this off my phone because it's easier. Oh, Linny Lou, thank you, Linny. You like that song? What else? All right. I think I mentioned these guys. That's Tanner. Under the Bus Network. Thanks, bro. And Ryan Hall, thank you. No, I think that's. Oh yeah, maybe. I think this is a little weird, but I think maybe Holly's here. Ryan Hall. What does it mean when the people are in green, like their names are in green? Looks a little weird.
That means that they're channel members. Thank you, Julianne.
Members. Got you. Okay, cool. Polly Walnuts. Polly, man, thanks, bro. Thanks for being here. Joke Riddler, Victor E. Lane, Mike Kearney, Riley Golf Pro, Johnny Heartbreaker, cool name. What else we got? I think I mentioned Kiss FAQ, but he seems really, really into the Kiss stuff. Great. And I think that's it. If I missed anybody, man, thank you. I'm sorry, but thanks for being here. I mean, you guys could be spending your Friday night doing anything, and you're here with us, Mose. So thank you.
One thing I want to say too, guys.
Somebody's from the Kiss... hold on. I just saw something here. Somebody's asking. Who is it? Oh yeah, Andy Carson is asking about EVH Con. No date yet for that, but it's going to be around the end of October. That's when we usually have it. Late October.
And streamed on here. Streamed on this channel.
And bring food.
We'll have it on here.
Yeah.
But no word on that yet.
If anybody has come over because of Andrew from the Kiss community, we'd really, really love your subscription. If you subscribe to our channel, we subscribe back. So all subs to our channel, we subscribe back. We don't solicit subs and stand back and don't do anything. We're into sharing, so please do that. Don't go anywhere, Andrew. We're going to play a short end video. We're going to wish everybody well and thanks. We just got a couple of things we need to say to you, but we'll probably say it off here. It's probably safer.
All good. I'm here.
Okay. All right. We're out of here, everybody. We'll see you later. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thanks, guys.